If we haven't met, hello, welcome. I'm Molly Holly, going live on my personal channel and Elite Resonance page. So this is day 2 of my mini series about self-leadership. If you missed day 1, then you can have a look that the replay is now available for that. So today I want to talk about blame versus responsibility. And this is a topic I have contemplated quite a lot because there are themes around extreme ownership and responsibility and the concept of blame and who's responsible and kind of this dynamic we have between other people. And what can happen with responsibility versus blame, which is what happened with me, is when I first kind of started noticing where in my life I wasn't taking responsibility. And I started noticing where I was actually either trying to avoid responsibility or I was instead putting the responsibility on someone else by blaming them. And what happened with me, I think the pendulum swung too far in the other direction because I started taking responsibility for everything. I was like, okay, well, if there was a miscommunication, it must be my fault. If someone is upset with me, it must be my fault. If this happened, then obviously I had some kind of contribution to it that meant I needed to take responsibility. And the problem with this is then we allow others to not take responsibility if we take too much responsibility. And so the art is really, it's, I guess, the art of responsibility, right? The art is figuring out what truly is your responsibility and what other people are responsible for. And one of the there's so many different things, whether it comes to work or tasks, but it also comes down to emotions and how we feel and what we say and how people respond. Because what I'm about to say, it's very interesting, right? What I'm about to say may not sit well for some people, which is an example of what I'm about to say. And that is oftentimes, no, not oftentimes, all the time, you are responsible for what you say, but you're not necessarily responsible for how people respond to what you say. And this is a tricky one because a lot of people might say, no, if you've said that and I'm upset, then you're responsible for making me upset. Or if you've said that, you should have known better. You shouldn't have, done this, said that. But the thing is, like, where you can tell if it really is that person's responsibility or not is then if you apply the positive, right? So, or if you flip it around. So, for example, if I say something neutral, if I just say something neutral, that's like socially acceptable. Like, just to be a part of society, there's the things that we better not say, or like, let's just like, be nice and kind to each other. But let's just say I say something very neutral, like, I had a great day. And there might be someone that says, like, how dare you say that? I had a horrible day and now you made me feel bad. So that person saying, now you made me feel bad, they're essentially blaming me for how they feel. Whereas the flip side, I say, I have a good day, and someone's like, oh, that made me feel bad. If they take emotional responsibility for that, then it would be saying, okay, they had a great day. I didn't. I feel bad. It's like, it's not their fault. It's not my fault that I feel bad. It's just they've said something. Now I feel bad about it. And I need to, if I take emotional responsibility for my reaction, then I can actually do something about it. And this is why responsibility versus blame is so important, because it's like, as soon as you take responsibility for your emotions, for your reactions, yes, it can be confronting. Yes, it can be like, whew, okay, this is like, I got to take ownership for this now. It's also solvable. Like, we can't change someone else. We can't make them say something else, or like, if they had a bad day, we can't then try and, people do try to make someone else have a bad day, but we really kind of can't. But if we've had a bad day, someone else had a good day, and that's made us feel a certain way, then it's like, okay, well, I can actually solve my own problem. If I feel bad about something, then I can solve that for myself. And it often flips around when it's like, okay, so I say I've had a good day, and then you maybe, or even like the opposite, right? Like if I, whinge about something and you've had a good day, and it's like, okay, why did you say that? Like now I feel bad, like you've reminded me that there's bad things going on in the world, like don't say that. There's a little bit of boundary there, which is fine, but then it's like, okay, where do I actually feel a little bit triggered by that? And then where can I then adjust that? Where can I strengthen my boundaries and my own kind of strength and self leadership within myself, so that if someone does say something, then I actually don't, like, it doesn't really affect me because I don't really care. And this is something that I've learned. I mean, we're kind of going off on a different tangent now, but this is something that I've really sat with, is noticing, like, if someone says something, what triggers me. Because someone might actually say something genuinely rude and it's just like, oh, whatever, like, don't care. Which I find really interesting, because sometimes someone can say something rude and you literally don't care. And then, your partner or your parent or your friend says something that's like, oh, what's wrong with your hair? Or just like something that's not even that bad. Or like, hey, I noticed that you could do better with this. Like they're trying to help. And you're like, why did you say that? Like it triggers you. And I've noticed for me that when something triggers me, it's literally because a part of me doesn't feel solid in it. Like if someone said, um, I don't know, like you're ugly, for example, then I'm probably going to be like, whatever. If someone said, your communication kind of sucks and it's not so great, like that is something I'm still working on. And so I might feel quite insecure about that. I might feel quite triggered by that. And it's not because that person has had a personal attack on me, it's because that's somewhere that I still need to grow. That's somewhere that I really need to like solidify and reinforce my own self belief and self worth. And that's then taking responsibility for that reaction that I had to whatever was said. And so this is emotional responsibility as opposed to emotional blame, which is the guilt part, trying to guilt someone else or even feeling guilty, right? Because even though I'm talking about taking your own responsibility, when you start taking your responsibility for yourself, you can also stop taking responsibility for other people, which I think is really important. Because if anyone has been, knows what it's like to be a bit of a people pleaser, it's really like you can quickly be guilted by someone else, like somewhat easy. If you're a people pleaser, and I used to be a people pleaser, like I know what it's like to be a recovering people pleaser. If you're a people pleaser and someone's like, "Oh, you made me feel this way," sometimes it's like, "Oh, like I feel guilty now. Like, how can I fix that? What can I do?" And so the flip side is that it's like suddenly we're taking on other people's emotions. Like we're taking on other people's blame as if it's our own. It's like we want to take responsibility, but now we're taking responsibility for too many things. And when you start and when you really kind of like reinforce this emotional responsibility for your own reactions, because you can see where that line's drawn for yourself, it's like, no, actually, I'm responsible for my emotions, you're responsible for your emotions. Otherwise, if I'm responsible for your emotions, you're responsible for my emotions. And that's where it starts getting so messy, particularly as adults, right? Like, I see this all the time in the workplace, and it's just like we're all adults here. Like we all have the capacity to take responsibility for our own emotions. Like, yes, if someone said something that made you feel a certain way, you can say, like, hey, when you said that, I felt this, like when I'm around, could you just not say that? That's fine. That's setting a boundary. That's different to be like, you made me feel. That's blame. And when we kind of extrapolate this out to like everything else in life, it's like, where else are we blaming the system or the government or the company or this or that or the climate, or it starts to, we kind of what's the word, like, give our power away, give our authority away. And this is why I wanted to actually talk about this topic, is like remembering to bring, like, reminding yourself of your internal authority, like reconnecting with your agency and your authority. And because unfortunately with blame, you're kind of giving someone else the power. Like, by blaming someone, it's like, you know, they've done something, they have the power. Because they have the power, they have the responsibility to do something about it. And yes, that is the case. When people have power, they do have a bigger responsibility, but you don't need to give your power to them. Yeah. And so by bringing that back, and it's not like, something's going on in the world and you're then trying to make yourself responsible for that. It's like, what can I actually focus on in my life? Like, I can't, as opposed to blaming, like, I guess I'm trying to avoid talking about this because everyone else is talking about it, but like, as opposed to blaming the fuel prices or blaming this government or blaming this or whatever, it's like, what can I do? What can I be responsible for to just, like, still have a certain level of control within my life? Like, what do I have control over? What can I respond to? What can I do instead? As opposed to outsourcing that power. It's like, where in my life do I genuinely have power, and how can I just focus on that and make that better and see the opportunity and the possibility and the abundance within those things, and just let that chaos go on around without having to, like, you know, give your power away to the chaos. Instead, take your personal power back and find that steadiness and that stability within yourself. So I'm gonna take a breath, let that land. So the other thing I want to mention, if I wasn't totally clear with this, is also then self-blame, right? We want to avoid self-blame, because the flip side of this is not to then be like, okay, it's my fault because I'm responsible for everything, then whatever happened is all my fault. Like, it's not that either. It's not then blaming yourself. If anything, it's kind of removing the blame entirely. Like, it's okay to have moments of blame. Like, um, yeah, when I left my recent job, like, it was a full restructure. I had a bit of a emotional breakdown, and like, there was a period where I was in full blame mode. Like, how dare they? This is their fault. Like, why did the executives do this? And it's okay to have that catharsis, to have that moment of, like, just get out the anger, get out the emotions. But then it's like, what do you do from then onwards? What do you do from then onwards? Do you just stay within that blame and they should have done differently? Or then do you take on the responsibility to decide what to do with your life from that moment on? And that's when I took on the responsibility to leave that job. Essentially, I was like, well, I'm kind of sick of blaming the company, and I'm going to take responsibility for my career and do something different, even if it is riskier, even if it is scarier. And then, of course, bringing it back to self-leadership, it's like, self-leadership is essentially self-responsibility. It is being responsible for your own actions and the consequences of those actions. And if you are in an environment where each person is taking responsibility for their own piece, right, it becomes quite beautiful. It becomes quite constructive, because suddenly, people aren't trying to like, not step on eggshells or keep people happy, or there's not this kind of like, oh, I don't want to be blamed, but I don't want to be like, there's no you can kind of interact, or not kind of, but you can interact as adults. You can set boundaries, you can be emotionally aware of yourself, you can take responsibility for your actions, you can solve problems because you're responsible for your actions. And it becomes quite a healthy, if you will, like society or social interaction that happens. And so having that self leadership, being the leader of your life, is being responsible for your life. It's being responsible for your emotions. It's being responsible for your actions. And I'll let that land. So, yes, this is a very important topic and not always an easy one to it's one that requires contemplation for sure. Contemplation on where you stand with this kind of topic, where you can start taking more responsibility, where you can take less responsibility, right? Not necessarily asking, but you could ask people to take responsibility for their piece, but kind of allowing other people to be responsible for their part in an interaction or a collaboration. And it doesn't always necessarily need to be like conflict related. It can literally be like you're in a team and yeah, allowing someone else to be responsible for their piece and making sure that they also let you be responsible for your piece, right? Because, you know, if you are ambitious in your career, you know how annoying it is when someone's like, you need to do it like this, you need to do it like this, you need to do it like this. And it's like, just let me be responsible for this, for what happens. Like, it's okay. Like, I can handle this. I can handle the consequences that come and I can navigate that because you are a leader. You have self leadership, even if you haven't been given the title of a leader. So, if any of this has resonated, has landed, if you're a bit like, oh, I feel like I've been taking too much responsibility for other people, or I feel like I've been giving my power away to the chaos, then I would recommend checking out my 2-hour recalibration, which is called Lead Yourself First. And it is very much about addressing any of these stress patterns because blame oftentimes is a protection mechanism. It is a response to a stressor. And that's fine. Like, again, it's not about never blaming anyone again. It's just about noticing, like, okay, this happened. I let myself, wallow in the blame and the anger and the sadness and the whatever. But then it's like, okay, let's move on from that. Let's not keep that pattern going and start being responsible for the things you want to be responsible for, because that's the other thing. It's like when you stop being responsible for all the nonsense and you start being responsible for your life, then you start having a space for exciting responsibilities like new businesses, a puppy, a family, an idea, just these exciting things that you are now responsible for. But it's scary, but in an exciting way, in a real kind of visionary, entrepreneurial way. So, yeah, that kind of sums up today. I've got another one of these tomorrow. We'll also be talking about self leadership, but I kind of mentioned it a little bit, the emotional stress side. So we'll go into more detail about that tomorrow. So, yeah, check out Lead Yourself First. And that's all. Thank you. Okay, bye.